We are all so grateful. We're live, flower friends. Hey, it's your friend in flowers, Lisa Mason Ziegler. And friends, I was just having a discussion here with all my little pumpkins that this is their week. This is their week to shine. It's the week before Halloween. I mean, how many of these pumpkins do you think you could sell the week of Halloween? And I mean, to tell you, I am so glad that we started our seeds on time because we have a wonderful harvest of pumpkins. So we'll talk about all this stuff later. All right, my flower friends, welcome to the show. My name is Lisa Mason Ziegler, and I am really happy to be here with you today. And today's going to be a really fun show because, you know, we're answering those frequently asked questions straight from all the previous shows that we've done. You know, these are the things we just hear over and over again. And did you know that this Sunday is Pumpkin Day? And I hope you have some pumpkin on the stick to be able to truly celebrate Pumpkin Day. I'm going to be sharing what's going on here on the farm. We'll be doing a live drawing for those in-app viewers who are watching. And friends, we're just going to have a great time here today. So, a little bit of housekeeping. You know, when you're placing your orders, please, please, please double check that we have your valid email address, check for typos, and your phone number. Our shippers require that information. So check that out. And remember that whenever you do just a seed packet only order, the shipping is on us. And we love doing that because we want you to purchase seeds when you meet the flower, right? And then for when you purchase products, there's also a cap on that. Standard shipping is $11.95 no matter how many items you get. One item, $11.95. 10 items, $11.95, y'all. So it's really a deal. And remember, if you have just stumbled upon us on social media, we are so glad you found us. But what I'd like for you to know is that we actually have a phone app, which is free. And when you're inside the app, you just have a lot more things you can do. You can participate in the live commenting that's going on between viewers. You can participate in the giveaway, and you can participate in the Q&A. You can submit questions to be answered. So to be able to get the app takes about 60 seconds, y'all. You could jump over to your phone's app store, search Gardener's Workshop, and then download. We have two. You want the shop app. That's where you're going to find me. Download it, take 30 seconds, and then jump right back in, and we'll be right here waiting for you. So I hope you will do that. We frequently sell out of stuff on the live show, and so if you go to a product and it says, sorry, out of stock, then it'll say you want to get notified. I would check that little box or hit that button, because that just simply means that if the team is bringing more stock over from our big website, you'll get a little ding on your phone and you'll know that it is back. And then mostly, my friends, I want you to know why you're seeing sunflower emojis. And those are the TGW family. And those are our online course students and the members of my private flower farmer club. And we love it when they share the love with us. So before we do a giveaway, y'all, I'm already starting to start taking off clothes here. So for all of you that are in the app, we have a giveaway this week of $25 store credit, and just hit the button and that'll put you on the list that we draw from at the end of the show. And you do need to be in the app and be here at the end to claim your prize. All right, my friends. So since National Pumpkin Week is Sunday, our first question that we get asked is about pumpkins on a stick. How can I plant pumpkin, or when can I plant? Sorry, y'all, I need a tissue. When can I plant pumpkin on a stick? Thank you. You know, y'all, I just asked for things and they appear. It's pretty good. So pumpkin on a stick, the simple answer to that is when you would plant a tomato, right? After the danger of frost has passed and the soil is warm, but not now. Yeah, sorry. So I'm reading what our questions and answers are, y'all. So it's a warm season tender annual, just like tomatoes. And the one thing that you do want to pay attention to, this is one of your lessons, is look on the seed packet. What is from seed to bloom or seed to fruit? How many days is that? Because if you plant it maybe right out of the gate in spring, it may be fully ripe in the middle of, let's say, July or August, a little too early. So you want to also focus on that, but you don't plant that now. It's a warm season tender annual. And you'll just, when you get your calendar, which I hope you are, that's one of the things that you'll be able to pinpoint exactly when you're supposed to start it. So what is your schedule for mosquito bits, liquid fertilizer, and compost tea bags? So this is great because they hear me talk about it all the time. All right, so I do all three of those things pretty much every week. The compost tea bags I don't always remember to do, but the mosquito bits, which are what kill the fungus gnat larvae, that's the little gnats that fly around your seed starting area, and they lay their eggs in the wet soil. And when we put these bits into our watering can, it eliminates that larva, so you break the cycle. I guess I should do it by the day of the week that I do it. Let's start with Monday. Mondays is when I put fertilizer in my watering can. Follow directions, 1 tablespoon to a gallon, right? That's every Monday. Every Wednesday, I do the mosquito bits to eliminate and prevent fungus gnat larvae. And then on Fridays, or actually Thursday afternoon or Thursday morning when I'm finished watering, I try to remember to drop a compost tea bag into my watering can to steep overnight, and then they get a dose of that on Friday. All right, so that's that. All right, when do you start your watering regiment? All those things that I just said. Do you wait until you have 50% germination of your soil block? So here's the lowdown on that. Fertilizer, A. Fertilizer never goes on anything that's on the heat mat. Everything else in the grow room would get a dose of fertilizer, as well as the harden it off area outdoors. The mosquito bits for the fungus gnats, everybody gets on heat mat, under grow lights, but once they go outside, nobody gets that anymore. That problem is solved. The compost tea is the same as fertilizer. I don't put that on the heat mat stuff, but everything else would get that. All right, can I grow cool flowers not tolerant to my zone if I use row cover all winter? This is a great question. So what that means is somebody is asking, can they grow a cool season hardy annual, aka a cool flower, that doesn't survive their winter's lowest temperature? I would say that I would not even try to do that if you don't have a hoop house or some kind of structure to help you, because it takes a lot. So when you would need to, at the minimal, and I'm not even sure it would work, double the row cover that we use anyway, that's lightweight. But when you start getting doubled row cover or heavier row covers that help to keep stuff from getting so cold, it also blocks a lot of light. And they're not going to do well over winter if they're not getting that full dose of sunshine. So that's the problem. So I only plant in the fall those cool flowers that actually survive my winter's lowest temperature. All right, so what's the question? Okay, so let's talk about row cover, and then I'll answer some questions. So this is our floating row cover. We use the lightest weight row cover for some of the reasons that I just mentioned. 85% of light makes it through, which your plants definitely need that. But I do not use row cover so much for cold protection, which is what everybody thinks of first. I use it for wind protection and to keep varmints from having access to my actual plants, right? And so the wind, when you use hoops and lightweight row cover, y'all, you just can't believe how that concentrates the sunshine and blocks the wind. I mean, it helps your plants so very, very much. And also it keeps the deer from grazing, golden retrievers from grazing, but most importantly, the darn squirrels and rabbits just don't even know there's something under there. So this comes in a 20-foot, a 50-foot, and a 100-foot piece. It's all 6.5 feet wide, and this lightweight version offers about 4 degrees of protection, meaning, you know, if you've got something that only survives 30 degrees and it's going down to 26, this might make the bill, but it's not going to give you anything more than that. All right. Do I use row cover in snow? No. Whenever you have any type of frozen precipitation, ice or snow forecasted, we always take our covers down. We take them down off the hoops and just lay them in the pathways, or I prefer to actually pick them up and bring them inside, because if it in fact does freeze or snow on them, they're going to be frozen together like a little popsicle down there in the pathways. That allows me to be able to reinstall them before waiting for the daggone snow to actually melt, right? So do not leave row covers up when there's frozen precipitation. Sorry, y'all. When do you take off row covers? When snow is coming, okay, or any frozen precipitation. When temperatures start to warm up. So for me, if my cover, I put covers up at about 30 degrees. That's when I start using them. And if the daytime temperatures are climbing over 50 degrees, I will take them down for the day. And you know, you just don't want to bake your transplants that are underneath there, or encourage them to actually break dormancy. And a really great time to use it is 10 to 14 days after transplanting, just to give wind protection, and just to give them a little extra TLC while they're actually getting kind of snuggled in and established, right? It just is added protection. All right, when do I put up support netting for cool flowers? Can I use it with my row cover? So this is flower support netting, which is what this is, y'all. This is plastic. It has 6-inch squares, and we suspend this above our beds for our flowers to grow up through to prevent them from laying down in torrential rain and then also wind. So I do not start installing netting until, you know, like not very early spring, but early spring. You know, once all your row covers have been taken down, maybe you've done a little whole weeding and gotten your garden kind of, you know, you've given maybe a little bit of food. That's when we start netting. And I head for the early bloomers first, because it happens quick. One day they're only, you know, 10 or 12 inches tall, and the next day you come out, it seems like, and they're 24 inches tall. So you want to net them early, but not too early, because once they're netted, then you can't use row cover. And so we row cover during the winter, and then when covers come off and we kind of spruce our beds up, that's when we start installing support netting. You do not use row cover and support netting at the same time. Now this comes in 20-foot piece as well as a 50-foot piece, and there are longer pieces available on our big website. $11.95 for the 20 and 50 footer is $21.95. You know what else we use it for? A planting grid. This is what they lay on the beds. It has 6-inch squares, y'all. It makes you plant at perfect spacing and in straight lines, so we love it for that. So what is hardening off? This is how you gradually expose your seedlings to the outdoor conditions. Wind, which is one that people really underestimate, wind and snow, and whatever temperature they're being introduced into that they're supposed to survive in. So it's that timeline of that gradual exposure. So there's a lot of different ways to do that. I have a covered porch, like a carport, that gets morning and afternoon sun. That is a perfect situation. Because of soil blocking, I don't ever want to put my seedlings out without overhead coverage, because if a burst of rain came, it would like make mud pies out of my soil blocks, right? But what you're doing is giving them a little bit of protection from the heat of the day, from wind, and that goes a really long way. And I tell you what I frequently use, also if you have a varmint problem like birds, who are big offenders around here, I use our insect netting to actually drape it on the trays themselves, and that just keeps the birds from being able to pull the seedlings out. I mean, they'll just clean a whole tray in actually no time. And so you can really watch your weather to determine when, what's going on outside. Like for us with cool flowers, I'm pretty much, if it's above 30 degrees, they're going outside, right? And even if it drops below that, it's okay once they've become acclimated. But I'm moving them outdoors when they are hitting that about 2 to 3 inch size, because the ultimate height to go to the garden is 3 to 5 inches. And friends, I will tell you, these plants are meant to grow outdoors. I'm always aiming to get them outside as early as possible. And if you're struggling with some issue, they're puny, they're just stalled or something, I can promise you, moving them outside to a safe, hardening off area almost instantly fixes all those problems. All right, so row cover when cool to cold, insect netting and heat. This is a good one. So I use row cover typically during winter, and then in spring and summer is when I use insect netting. Insect netting is a stretchy kind of, it's almost like pantyhose, y'all, for anybody that remembers about pantyhose, right? It's nylon, and it does a great job of protecting from birds and insects. You can use it with hoops. Use it just like row cover. It's the same width, 6.5 feet wide. Put it on the hoops. We use weight bags to hold it down. It prevents birds from eating your seeds, insects from having access. And for us, I mean, it's been huge in a particular cool flower bed over here. I kept the squirrels out. It's a bed that the squirrels just love to hide pecans in. I'd have no plants left. That's where all my biennials are, and they look fabulous because I used insect netting. It is reusable from year to year, and this is, as I mentioned, 6.5 feet wide, and it comes in a 20 foot, which is $33.95, 50 foot, and 100 foot. This is much more durable than row cover, but this has no heat protection at all, y'all. It allows more light in. This is what we also build a sun cap out of. When you're planting cool flowers in the fall, but it's still too hot on some days, making that little sun cap shade structure above them helps so very, very much. So the insect netting has a lot of different uses. So the number one question that we get about soil blocking, maybe watering is right up there with this. Why do my soil blocks fall apart? There's 2 reasons: not using the right blocking mix and the way that you actually water your trays. So the soil blocking mix is the complete opposite of what most other seed starting mixes are made out of. And so regular seed, conventional seed starting mix is made to be light and fluffy because you're supposed to put it in a container and you're trying to maximize air and water to move through it. You need the complete opposite of that for soil blocks. You need it to be binding together, right? And that's the number one reason. I mean, y'all, we read it every day. Y'all can use whatever you want to start seeds or soil block, right? But we read it every day, people talking about how they use XYZ, just run-of-the-mill, find it, soil mix, and then they just don't have good luck, and they kind of forget that they're not starting with the basic right mix, right? So it's also a natural living blocking mix. Our recipe, as well as our ready-made mix, is alive. We do not use sterile soil, which most on the market are. And it is just full of healthy microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, all the things that help to nurture your plant. And a really common question is what are those flakes, those gold-looking flakes that are in our ready-made mix? Y'all, that is vermiculite. That is a natural source of vermiculite. So this is our bag of ready-made mix. This is a 6-quart bag, and it actually makes 600 of those little soil blocks, y'all. Goes a really long way. It's $15.95, and then you would shipping and handling would be $11.95. So please remind me of the water / mix ratio for the ready-made mix. So when you get this to make soil blocking, you're going to put 3 parts soil to 1 part water. And for us, this is approximately 20 cups of blocking mix. I put about 6.5 cups of water. That's kind of my jumping off point for that. Okay, I don't have any luck direct sowing celosia. What am I doing wrong? So for sure, if you're after it enough, you could have success with direct sowing celosia, but not many people do. I don't. It is definitely recommended that you not direct sow it, that you start it indoors. And it is true that celosias can reseed, and they can reseed plentifully. But a bazillion of them don't reseed. I mean, the seeds that you see reseeding is a small fraction of what's been sown. So you have to oversow, lots of daily attention to watering and holding back weeds to do that. We recommend that I start all celosias indoors. All right, so now I'm gonna demonstrate and show you how we make some blocks. And we're gonna do the small blocker first. This is the soil blocker. And this is, it's best to use some kind of tub that has edges around it so you can mix your water and your soil together. I find that sometimes kitty litter boxes are good for this. You want it big enough that you can have room to do the job you need to do. And this is a potato masher, y'all. That's the tool of choice. I have made a kind of the water's been mixed in here, and then hold on to the stationary bar and push the blocker down into the wet mix twice is what I do. Because I just want to be sure that the chambers are full, and then I strike off the excess. And then we use trays with a flat bottom with no drainage holes, y'all. You place your tool on the tray and then give it a squeeze. And just that quickly, y'all, we just made 20 little containers. And now we're going to sow some surface sown seeds. Is that right? Okay. Yep, we're going to sow some celosia. And sister, what I have figured out, I know we need that again in a minute, but this works really good. It's amazing the things I figure out when I'm here by myself, right? Don't have all these helpers to help me. Oh, there you go. And so the celosia that I am going to sow today is actually it's coated, and it's just a clay product that the seed producers use to make counting the seeds for all of them easier. But I'll tell you this, that Bobo loves coated seeds because they are so much easier to see. And so I'm using an aluminum seed pan. This has no static electricity. And when I touch my toothpick that's been moistened with saliva, can you see that? That little yellow seed just jumped right on the end of my toothpick. And I have placed it on the surface, and I am just firmly seeding the seed on the surface, not covering it, but it needs to make good contact so that the seed can benefit from the moisture in the block and all those good things. So can y'all see that? That little seed right on the toothpick? Having a static-free pan literally will double time your seed starting. It's pretty amazing. So that's how you surface sow seedlings. All right, so now I want to demonstrate the 2-inch block. Okay, so guess what the deal of the day is, y'all? The soil block maker set. And we just did the small. Do you want to move this or? So I just showed you the small, and I'm going to show you the large one, because guess what I'm getting ready to do? I'm going to be sowing, that light's getting ready to fall. I am going to be sowing my sweet peas, and these are literally the sweet peas that are going to be planted on my farm. So the soil block maker set, not the kit, the set, which means the small blocker and the larger 2-inch blocker with the inserts is 20% off today, y'all. The small blocker, the large blocker, the inserts are normally $89.55. Today, they're $71.64 through Sunday at 8 a.m. Eastern or until supplies run out. So you get both of these. You're like set for soil blocking, and you get 4 of these inserts, and you'll see in just a moment what you actually use those for.
Hey, so it looks like the sale is not calculating correctly, so if they don't see the sale price on there, give us a little time for the program.
Okay.
Check out.
So Susie's just saying that the platform seems a little slow in calculating the sale price. So if you put it in your cart, double check that your pricing is correct before you check out. And if it doesn't correct itself, you just let us know. Now let me show you how we make large blocks, because it's a little bit different. And I absolutely love this for starting sweet peas. So you use the larger block when the seed is too large to go into the small block, right? And so a sweet pea is the size of a pea. So it's literally much too big to go into a soil block.
There's green trays right by your shoulders.
Yeah, I'm supposed to use green trays. Yep, sorry. So we're literally making the farm's trays today. All right, so if you see, I have a nice pile of blocking mix. And this technique is a little bit different. And it's because what I find is that the end blocks sometimes don't get, can you hold this still for some reason? It's just not cooperating today. And those end blocks sometimes just don't get as full as I want them to be. And so I'm going to use one of our green trays. And if you love these as much as I do, you'll find them over on our big website. They aren't available here. Look at that, y'all. We just made 4 2-inch blocks containers just that quick. And I think I have enough blocking mix to fill this tray. We're going to be cutting it close. So this is why it's always better to have more blocking mix in the tray than you need. And my standard go-to is to always start with that bag of 6 quarts. That's enough to make 30. Yeah, I don't have enough here to make another one, so let's just sew that one. All right, so let me show you how to sew these seeds. So I don't have enough blocking mix to really make those 2-inch blocks very well. So I'm going to show you exactly how I plant them here on the farm. So I've got my sweet peas. And literally, you could just dump a few of them in your hand. And so the soil blocker had the inserts installed on them, so you can see this big hole in the top. And that is so you could actually, if you wanted to, drop a 3/4-inch block in there, and that's how you pot up, right? But I don't take the inserts on and off. Once I put them on my blocker, I leave them. And when I'm planting seeds, what are the other things that I plant in here? Sunflowers. Zucchini, squash, those kinds of things. I literally just drop a seed. I need a little plug of soil, sister, if I could, just to top this with. Maybe that stick. Oh, thank you. And so sweet pea seeds, as it tells me right on the seed packet, should be covered with soil. And so I'm just putting a little plop of soil right on top of the seed. And that is how simple it is to sow sweet pea seeds.
So will you be transplanting those out?
Yes. So these will be germinated and grow, and it takes about 2 to 3 weeks. And then we will be planting these outdoors in my garden once they are probably about 5 to 8 inches tall. We do not trellis them now. They are planted out in the garden because we definitely really like row cover in them when it gets really windy and whippy outside. I mean, think about it. It's like putting a windbreaker on. That wind's not going to kill them, but it's going to whoop up on my pretty vegetation, and I just don't want that to happen, right? So don't trellis until the spring, just like you don't put flower support netting in until then, right? When the packet says needs light to germinate, do I put them under a grow light? No, in fact, needs light to germinate, or another way of saying that is sow, surface sow, or don't cover with soil. Those all mean the same thing. And in fact, that is just ambient room light. And what I have learned through years of learning from a lot of different people, what that really means is that seed also needs a lot of oxygen to be able to sprout. And that's a big piece of all of that. It needs to be not buried in soil, not letting it get the oxygen that it needs. If seeds aren't supposed to be covered, do you literally just lay them on the top? So just like you just saw me do that celosia, you firmly seat them. That means you don't just sprinkle them on. You have to place each seed. I do it with the toothpick, and I just make good contact with the soil, and that's it. That is actually sowing them on the surface. Don't use a heat mat and grow light together. So that's a really common thing that we talk to people about. So your setup is you have your heat mat in an area. If you're starting cool flowers, I recommend the air temperature in that area be about 65 to 70 degrees. 68 is perfect because your heat mat is triggered. It's got a thermostat and it regulates based on the air temperature, right? And so we make our soil blocks, we sow our seeds, then we take them into where the heat mat is and we put the trays on the heat mat. Then when 50% of those seeds sprout, you remove them from the heat mat and move them over to a grow light. They are never on a heat mat and under a grow light at the same time. You will definitely toast your seeds and totally dry them out, right? All right, so what happens with this heat mat is this thermostat makes this warm up 15 to 20 degrees warmer than the air temperature. Your seeds need a temperature signal when it's time to sprout. That's why so many seeds don't sprout. They don't get the signal. If your house is 70 degrees, so most seeds, germinate between 75 and 85 degrees, and we're talking soil temperature. And you're thinking, my house is 70, I'm probably good on that. And what you don't understand is that's air temperature. Your soil temperature, or any mass of anything, a glass of water, is typically 15 to 20 degrees cooler than your air temperature. So if your house is 70, your soil is 55, and that explains why your seeds don't sprout. So the heat mat resolves all of that problem. It's $39.95, and it's the missing piece for most people. When we are starting cool season seeds, like now, they still need warmth, but maybe not as hot as the warm season. So we actually, this is one of our mom's cookie cooling racks, and we literally just put this on top of the heat mat. Literally, it just sits on top, and that creates a little airspace. So they're still getting warmth 24/7, but it's just cooled down just a little smidge. So we never have this on the app. So we are offering it today because it's the shipping problem, y'all. So our tabletop grow light. So this is a great little thing, especially, for home gardeners. I just wished I'd had this all those years ago when I was starting out as a gardener. And so this is our tabletop grow light. It's 24 inches long, and I think it's got a footprint of probably, the foot is only a few inches, but when you put your trays down here, that's about 12 inches. This literally could fit on top of a clothes dryer. Super simple. So once 50% of those seeds germinate on your heat mat, you move them off the heat, and this is where you put them under, is right here. We actually leave this light on 16 to 18 hours a day, and we do that by using a timer. And nobody remembers to turn their lights on. Yours truly is the worst. That's why we use timers. All of my lights come on at 6 a.m. in the morning, and they go off at 10 p.m. at night. So the grow light was $99.95. The timer is $11.95. And you can set it to whatever your time schedule is, but you would never rely on daylight, y'all. That's what grows tall, yellowish, rangy transplants. They need 16 hours of light a day to really just stay short and stocky. How do you handle the situation of having seedlings big enough to plant in your soil blocks at the same time as they newly sprouted seed? I don't understand the question.
I've had an answer for you.
They were planted at the same time but are in varying stage. Only start the same seeds in a soil block unit. So you're talking about trays.
They're putting multiple seeds.
Okay. Okay, great. This is a great question. And I used to do this until I figured this out. You would never put more than one type of flower or vegetable or whatever you're growing on a tray. I don't even typically mix colors on a tray because what we don't realize until this happens to you is that they all typically germinate at different rates. I mean, you know, there's tomatoes that actually germinate in 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, and 30 days. You know, if you were to have them all on the same tray, those that germinated early are needing to get to light while this slowpoke down here is not all ready yet. They germinate at very different rates. So only put one type of seed on a tray. Don't use multiple seeds in a set of soil blocks or on the same tray. And you just get into a habit, y'all, and you'll be fine. So these are our reusable foam trays. And this is why we use so many different sizes, y'all, because we're accommodating that. You know, this is what I start all my tomatoes on, or anything that I don't grow a lot of. This is our mini size. It's $1.95 for a 5-pack. They have flat bottoms and no drainage holes. 25 packs are available in all of these. This is the small tray, which holds 2 sets of 20. So 40 plants on this tray. Do we have any seedlings to show? And this is our 3/4, this holds 60 of the 3/4 inch soil blocks, which is the size that I use 95% of the time. And so this is that large tray with 40 ready to go to the garden. Literally, all of his brothers and sisters were planted yesterday and the day before. This is Black-Eyed Susan's. These are the small blocks, y'all. I mean, it's pretty impressive. This is like 11 by, that's not 11. This is 8 by 5.5, I believe. It's pretty dadgum amazing. Thank you, Susie. Bless you, sister. All right. So all the different foam trays are available in 5-packs and 25 packs. So do you use humidity domes? I do not. And there's nothing wrong with plastic humidity domes. They just need to be monitored very closely. And I know my personal limitations. I go into my grow room once a day, early in the morning, and then I'm not back in there till the next morning. Domes can trap too much moisture if left unattended. So we use wide weave burlap. And that has big holes, so it allows air circulation, but yet it retains moisture. It comes in a 3x3 piece that you can cut to any size, and you can get a 3-pack of these for $9.95. And when it's on the heat mat is the only time I use this. And as soon as they start cracking, you remove the burlap. All right. Oh, we have another deal of the day, y'all. Soil Block Maker Complete Kit, y'all. This is everything that you need to soil block and seed start and to get them out to the garden. I mean, it has everything down to the row cover you use out there. So the deal of the day part is that it has the capped shipping over here of $11.95. When you purchase it on our website, it charges you what we pay to ship it, which I think is about double that. So you have a savings on shipping purchasing this Soil Block Maker kit. And so, all right, sister, let's have it. Are we doing this again? Is that why this is here?
No.
Okay. Sorry. I take directions really well, don't I, y'all? So this kit starts off with the Soil Block Maker kit, which has the ready-made mix that we've already talked about. It has all the components of the Soil Block Maker kit, the blocker, the trays, and it also includes the Seed Starting Made Easy, my online course, which you will own, and you have lifetime unlimited access. And then you have your choice of either 5 packs of cool season seeds or 5 packs of warm season seeds. And these are all customer favorites. So you get that. You also get the Neptune's Harvest seaweed fish fertilizer that I put in my watering can every Monday. And then it also has the fungus gnat fighting kit. That includes the bits we talked about, but it also includes the sticky traps that I lay on my trays to trap the adult gnats that are flying around laying all the eggs, y'all. So both of these come in your kit. It also includes the burlap that we just talked about. It also includes the heat mat, y'all. And it includes that grow light that we just looked at, which is just perfect size, and the timer. Plus, my friends, it comes with a 20-foot piece of the biodegradable film that we use and love so much. This is 48 inches wide, 20 feet long. It also includes a 20-foot row cover, and it even includes the support netting that you need, a 20-foot piece of that. So, my friends, it literally includes all this mess, which we can't even get it all in the right one picture. It's $299.95, which is about how much off, Susie? Didn't we just figure that out? Is it 5% or?
5 or 10, I can't remember.
So it's a savings in the kit. Now, in addition to the kit savings, you're saving on shipping. The shipping is only $11.95 for all of this. And you are ready to rock and roll with seed starting, whether that is now with cool flowers or if you live where you can plant in the winter, in very early spring, and then for spring, you are set to go. All right. Does feverfew prefer to be direct sown? No, we don't find that it is. We definitely start that indoors. And again, reading your seed packet will give you all the instructions that you need. When should I direct sow bachelor buttons and larkspur? So we have to really think, I'm sorry, I'm just thinking the simplest way to explain this to you. These are all cool season hardy annuals, right? So you have to find your winter's lowest temperature. Okay, so you can look that up online, put your zip code in, what's my average lowest temperature? And that will tell you what that relates to your winter hardiness zone. Then you read the seed packet and it will tell you how hardy that seed is. So if let's just say you live in zone 7 and you look at feverfew and it says it's winter hardy to zone 5. Zone 5 is north of zone 7. So guess what? Feverfew is hardy for you. That's how you know when you can fall plant. And friends, I don't remember all these details. I rely on our resources to tell us that. That is where, and we'll talk about it in a minute, this is where the calendar is going to save us all. That's what has saved me for 15 years. But all the information that you need to figure all that out on is in the Cut Flower Handbook. This is my book that when we created this book, we really wanted to be able to say to somebody that really just knew nothing. They don't understand cool season, warm season. They want to have a 3-season outdoor cutting garden. I could say, here's the book that will guide you all the way through in my very simple and easy to follow steps. The Cut Flower Handbook, when you purchase it from us, it also includes a PDF download link where the 6 flowers that we just simply could not fit in the book will actually are in this PDF download. And if you print it at 85%, it fits perfectly inside your book. The book is $30, and I would love to be able to sign one of those for you. I'm in zone 4A. I can't really do any fall planting that I know of. Is that right? So 4A is pretty cold. I don't know what her winter lowest temperature, because y'all, I don't remember all this stuff. I look in the books and stuff, right? So there may be a couple of things which aren't coming to mind. I'm not going to pull them up from memory, but you might not be able to fall plant, but you are definitely one of the folks that can make the most out of very early spring plantings. And even though you don't plant in the fall, you prepare your fall planted area, your planting areas in fall for very early spring, because guess what? I would imagine in very early spring where you are, you probably have snow on the ground. It's either too frozen or too wet. You're not going to be preparing beds. So that is your fall job, is preparing the planting spaces for your very early spring. And so I'm just looking. I don't know what zone 4 is the lowest temperature. So that's your big advantage. We have people up in Alberta, Canada, and north of that are just really finding all kinds of ways to get their cool flowers in the garden in very early spring, as early as possible, working with snow load and everything. So that is your big advantage, preparing in fall and getting stuff in the ground. So the big calendar. Y'all, it's coming together. This is it. If you haven't met it before, it's 20 inches wide, 30 inches long. We have a pre-order bonus, which means you'll be invited to a live workshop. And friends, this is going to change everything for you. And one of the resources, there's a QR code on your calendar that has my seed starting worksheet. After you figure out your planting windows, you take this and you're going to figure out all your seed starting times for your garden. And so it's $39.95 plus $11.95 shipping. We anticipate that it'll be shipping the end of November, and I can't wait for you to have it in your hand. What's the best method to hydrate basil and mahogany splendor? Harvesting early in the day, morning. We put hydrator, quick dip in the bucket. It's not on the instructions, y'all, but we use 2 tablespoons of quick dip hydrator in harvest buckets of those needy things like mahogany splendor and basil. And so literally if you then have, so that is how we prevent droop, right? But let's just say you come out the next morning and you have the droop like this. What we do is just keep a little container, and you just don't need much quick dip in it. You literally, so this is kind of droopy, right? She's gonna cut the stem, you fresh cut, and then you dip it into the quick dip for about 15 seconds or so, just giving it time for the stem to suck some up. And it's just like open, it's like a vascular dilator. It's about 15 seconds. So we're gonna pretend it's been 15. You take it out and then you just drop this right back to wherever you came from. And I will tell you that if you have roses with their head down, hydrangeas that are shriveled, the next morning when you come out, they are born again. It's amazing. But the 2 tablespoons in the bucket can prevent a lot of that. Do you practice crop rotation? Yes. By my simple succession planting, which also there is that on the calendar. There's a very basic overview. That succession planting is in fact rotating our crops throughout our garden. Eucalyptus, do you grow eucalyptus as an annual or treat it as a perennial and overwinter? I do all of the above. So here is our first year eucalyptus. This is our last harvest of I cut it pretty clean. And so I'm in zone 8A, which is right on the edge of where 8B and 9 can typically winter it over outside. I have to provide additional protection. That means mulching it deep in leaves, hooping and row cover, and I usually do a double row cover. And most years we can winter it over, but it does take special attention. So let's look. Oh my gosh, y'all, they're all my favorites, but this is the easiest to use. This is parvula gum. Look how little that leaf is. Love this stuff. This is, woohoo, this is Whopper.
My favorite.
This is Suzanne's favorite, y'all. This is Polyanthumus. Look how beautiful this stuff is.
Or we just call her Polly.
And we call her Pollyann. We love this stuff. And then this is the one most nationally known. This is Silver Dollar, which is really popular. All of these are standalones. I find all 3 of them are as vigorous growers as each other. You know what I mean? There's not one of those that is better than the other. And here's one of those fall crops, the spinning gourds. So we love harvesting them when they're green for fresh use. But if I'm planning on, making precious little ornaments or ghosts or Christmas ornaments, I let them dry outside on the vine. Just get them before it gets too cold. And this is what they look like dry. Love them. You don't need but 1 or 2 plants. They are very productive and they are really quick to produce. So remember those seeds I started in midsummer, because it was on my calendar, y'all, because I knew when to put it. Well, our snaps are blooming. This is Chantilly. Look how pretty these guys are. Oh, they're so very, very pretty. Chantilly has an open face. And then guess what's starting to bloom now is Opus. Opus has the nicest stems, y'all. These did not get netted and they got blown down in the torrential rain. So we have some crookedness going on. But both of them were summer planted for fall blooms. We're still bringing in, what is this? Oh, Benary's Giant Mix. There's not quite so many colors this time of the year. We're kind of really going with those fall colors. And I mean, it just, zinnias until the end, right? Love those. What is zinnia? My zinnias are overwhelmed with powdery mildew. Any advice? Yes. We succession plant for that reason. All zinnias get mildew. I've never treated them. Treating is a lot of extra work and it rarely eliminates it. We strip the foliage anyway, but if the powdery mildew gets bad enough, we just mow the crop because we have others coming along. All right, here is Zowie, which is a perfect fall zinnia, y'all. Look at that two-tone, and this is a butterfly favorite. We love Zowie, I can't even speak, y'all. How do you count days to harvest for cool flowers? Fall planted, you can't, because here's the deal. Like if a seed says 90 days from seed to bloom, because let's just say a snapdragon, I don't know what a snapdragon is. Well, if you fall plant it, you plant them and they grow a little bit and then they go dormant over winter. That doesn't count dormant time. So you really have to like grow them for yourself in your conditions to find out when. I know when all my snaps bloom because I've grown them for so long, right? And you have to do the same thing. Cutting Gomphrena. When you say to cut when the ball is full and round, but I found the center one is ready quite a while before the rest of the flowers on the stem. If cutting to the base of the stem, can you clarify? Yeah, so sometimes the center one will be a little old. It'll still be good, but you're exactly right. I know exactly what you're talking about. And so if a stem has 7 balls on it, I cut it when there's more mature balls than there are not mature little balls, right? And there's some good old Gomphrena. Tips for someone starting a cut flower garden next spring. Well, you have the perfect time to actually, I mean, if you've missed your opportunity for fall planting, this winter, you need to read books, read blogs, podcasts. You can go over to thegardenersworkshop.com and fall in all winter, watching videos, reading blogs, reading my books. The Cut Flower Handbook is for home gardeners and flower farmers. There's tips for both throughout the book. And that's where you need to start. I would start with the book for sure. And purchase what you need, seeds, tools, and supplies to make and prepare your beds now for very early spring and even spring so that you're ready. So friends, I just want to remind you to be included in the giveaway. Hit the button now to get on the list. And guess what's up next? Susie Q and the Bouquet Studio. And she's got a spooky arrangement today.
Hey guys, glad you all are here to join us. I brought my little lazy Susan so it's easier for you guys to see. Move this back a little so you can see what we're doing. So today I thought I would do a little something spooky and Halloween themed. And this is what I'm going to be using. We have some hibiscus, some hyacinth beans, some pumpkins on a stick, and we also are going to use some of our little spinner gourds. This is what they look like when they're fresh, and you can actually take the pumpkins on the stick and the gourds and put them on a skewer and use them that way as well. But Susie has decorated some of our gourds into little ghosts. So we're going to hang some ghosts on our little dark arrangement. So today I thought I would use a black bucket. This is our small bucket. Susie, what's the I'm sorry, 5, oh, I couldn't see.
0.5 liter, I think it is, isn't it? Maybe 5 liters.
It's 5 liter.
Oh, there
so
you
it's
go.
a 5 liter bucket. It's great for shorter stems if you're cutting them, but I'm going to use it today as my little vase, big vase. We're also going to use some of our floral netting. So this is the floral netting. I call it the kinder, gentler chicken wire, and it's coated because chicken wire will rust if you leave it in there a while. And I'm going to cut a pretty good sized piece of this, and I've not tried this, so hopefully the piece will be big enough. And never use your shears to cut wire, okay? Everybody hear me? Never use your shears to cut wire.
She just bought a pair.
Okay. All right, so now I'm going to take this nice big piece, and it's called crumple wire. I'm just going to crumple it, and I do want it to fit tightly in my little vase here so that it holds all the stems up. So I'm going to shove it down and make sure it's nice and sturdy. And then because I'm going to be using some taller stems, I'm going to put a lot of water in this. The other great thing about it is it holds a lot of water. But we're going to put a lot of water in because that gives it weight so it won't tip over. All right, so there's our water. All right, and I pre-measured one of my hibiscus, and I thought that this would be a good height to make it. I don't want to make it too tall or else it will fall over. So I'm going to just get some more hyacinth stems. Hibiscus. And I'm just going to put them in my hand and make them a little bit different heights. I am not an arranger. A ranger can just cut it without looking. But now I'm going to cut them all the same. Let me get my compost bin. So I'm just going to cut them. They're going to be a little bit varying lengths. Put the tall ones in the middle. And look how the wire holds it up. And I do need to put some quick dip in here. Some of this
Is old.
hibiscus has been in the bucket for a few weeks, so forgive the droopiness. So we're just going to use a bunch of these stems. Put one over there. Can you see me anymore? So let's grab some more that look halfway decent. I thought I had done that. All right. And you can make some shorter around the front. To fill it in. You see, I'm just sticking them in and they're just standing right up in the hole with the floral wire.
Looks like a little Japanese maple.
It does indeed, doesn't it? It's crazy. All right, so I need a couple of taller ones, I think. Now that I've gone big, there's no going back
Do you
now,
need
right?
taller sticks for your things?
No, that's actually, you're correct. I'm gonna have to put those in. They're gonna be mixed in. I think the couple I put in first are a little tall. All right, so we're gonna spin you around this way and get those guys out of the way. All right, so we have just now a base for this. Now I'm gonna take some pumpkins on a stick and we're gonna figure out how tall we want
Can't
them.
really see anything.
All right,
Wonder, should we,
let me move this aside. So here's my pumpkin on a stick. And I'm just gonna cut it the length I think it needs to be. And I actually wanna move it back a little bit further in. So that one is up tall. So we're gonna put some down a little bit lower. And I'm just gonna hold it up and guess at the height. And you can do this all the way around, but I'm gonna just do it to your side so that you can see and we don't have a lot of time. But we're gonna put all of our little pumpkins in. And you could also use them on the skewers, and you could put the skewers in differing heights as well. But you see how well that stands up? How precious is that? So here are the spinning gourds. I just wanted to show you these because that's what our little ghosts are made of. But Susie said, look at these poppy pods. They look kind of spooky, don't they? Kind of dead. So we could also put a couple of poppy pods. Kind of dead, spooky. You could paint a little face on there.
you could just take a Sharpie and make a spooky
Yeah,
face.
and make a spooky face. So we've got a couple of the poppy pods. But my favorite thing is this, the hyacinth bean, because you can make this stick out.
Hold it still for a second when you put the next one in. Let them see it.
So you can make it stick out so that it kind of has little arms. I don't know if you can see it's sticking out pretty far, but I love that, and kind of gives it movement, and
All right.
makes it kind of almost like spider arms hanging out or something. It's just
Here's
kind
a
of
tall
creepy.
one with arms.
Okay. So we're going to put a few hyacinth beans in. And now you can keep going all the way around with this, but I'm just going to move right to the pumpkins. You can take all that away, sister.
Okay.
So Susie made these cute pumpkins. This is a spinning gourd, and I think she said she dipped it in white paint and then just took a marker, preferably one of our garden markers, and made a little face on it. So they are just precious. And once I'm finished putting these guys on, I'm gonna hold the arrangement back so that you can see better. But this is just so much fun, and it's a cute little arrangement to have out for Halloween, have for an event, have on your porch when you're handing out candy.
This would be better than a pumpkin.
It would. Give me one more
Hibis-
hibiscus, please.
Hibiscus?
Yep, I'm kind of short here in the front. One hibiscus.
Wouldn't that be fun? You know, those goofy people that feel like they need to bust your pumpkin, let them try to pick this up and throw it and watch them spill water all over them. That's why I stopped buying pumpkins. Mischievous teenagers.
Well, they could be in worse trouble.
It's true.
So now I'll turn it around.
Look
you
at
can
that.
see the little pumpkins and the little, woo, this little ghost is really spooky. Just think about the wind blows. So Lisa, if you want to.
That looks really cute, sister.
So that's pretty precious, just an easy, cute little arrangement. And I also had a black tablecloth. What did I do with that? I'm not sure. But my thoughts were to put a black tablecloth up around it on the table, and then you could have some other ghosts and things around. So that is today's Bouquet Studio. And as usual, you want to make sure all your foliage is off of your stems that are going to be in the water, and use fresh water, use flower food. What about flower food with floral netting? I know flower food and metal sometimes have a bad reaction.
I don't know with the coating. I've never heard of a problem.
Yeah, I've never heard of a problem either, but I just remembered that if you have a metal container, don't use flower food. But change the water often, and this has such a big tub, you can, not fill it quite as often because it's got so much water in it. All right, and next up we have what?
What is next up? Oh my
Flowers.
goodness, we have flowers, y'all. And I mentioned earlier that I think this might be, we're coming to an end of the fresh season. And it's always sad and happy at the same time. And y'all, I just had to share these with you guys. And did y'all know that plants will be available? The ordering on this will be opening up as soon as the details get rolled out. This is my favorite mum. Look at this. Pumpkin eyes, y'all. Y'all know I love orange, right? Look how big that whopper is. We absolutely love these. And so on the app, if you're in that, not while you're live, but when you go in at the top, there's categories across. Live plants are in there. If you want to be notified once the details come out, you can just get on one of the wait lists or all the wait lists. Dahlia plants and mum plants. It'll be a ton of fun. And I grew these this summer, and I can't wait for you guys to have them. So we still have blue horizon azuratum coming out of the garden. I mean, the blue blooms are just spectacular any time of the year. And then we also I still have 4 weeks of sunflowers out in the garden. Look at this, y'all. All sizes. This is the Pro Cut Mix. We have the bicolors, lemon, peach, the whites, the oranges. They're all still just coming out and blooming. These were just cut. This is the lemon bicolor. And friends, and here is Brilliance, one of my favorites. Can you see her halo? Love sunflowers in the fall. And we still have Shimmer. This is Shimmer, no Texas yet anyway. And these are just great colors, right? Look at the peachy kind of salmon color. And I just love how wild and crazy they look. So that is Celosia Shimmer. Here is Texas Plumes are winding down, y'all. They like it in Texas where it's hot, right? We were 40 degrees last night. So this is the Texas Plumes. And so this is the Crystal Beauty, which is, of course, not happy because it's not warm. They're usually much larger, but look at the color. You definitely have to grow this one. It's a strong brancher. Really love that one. And then we have Flamingo Feather. This is aged out a little bit, which is the way I love it. And this is fresh, the brighter pink. And so this is a wonderful Celosia plume. And then, friends, what was made for fall? But marigolds. Look at these guys. Love cutting them when they're green in the center. They have a long base life, and the colors are just popping. That's yellow. This is gold, which is a favorite. And then look at the orange. And these are all the cocos, which are the big ones. Look how beautiful that is, y'all. Look how beautiful. And then we actually sell a mix, and here is that. Has all the same colors. Marigolds really like the fall. So we have some pretty, these are not very happy yet, but this was another one of my experiments of a cool flower to bloom in fall. This is the Salvia Blue Better. Look at that color, y'all. Isn't that beautiful? How deep and dark. It's really, really pretty. And then the Rooster Peppers, you know, I'm making wreaths out of those with my Flower Farmer Club every week now. And they are just beautiful. There they are, partially stripped. And so these will all be stripped, and then we use them to make wreaths. They're really incredibly useful. And then I did bring in a couple of the cut flower kales. They still haven't started to color up, y'all. We're getting into their season. This one is the white, which you can't even see the white yet, right? Then this, which one are we next? Is rose. I have to stare at them for a minute. Wait a minute. This is the rose. And so see how big it looks? You don't use it with all these stems on it. I want to pull these off for y'all to see. And you make it smaller. And as it develops, it'll get real colored on the inside when it starts to get light frost. And wasn't there another one?
There's 3.
Oh, here it is. And here is the red. And again, they color up once they get a light frost on them. We still have, oh my gosh, the double click Cosmos. They love the fall, y'all. This is the mix. And she's a beauty. This is Rubenza. Looks like stone-washed flowers, right? I love this one. It's great for fall. Then this one is Afternoon White. That big bloom with the yellow center is so shiny. And then this is the best one for butterflies, y'all. This is Sensation Mix. So very, very beautiful. All right, my friends, it's time for us to wrap up. We have made such a mess on this table today. So I want to remind everybody that over on our website, thegardenersworkshop.com, we have so many resources. At the top of this list, did you know that I'm doing a free webinar tonight on where to sell your cut flowers? You have to register to get the link and get the PDF and join me. It's over at thegardenersworkshop.com at the top of every page. Over there, you're also going to find videos, our blogs, the podcast. Be sure you check out Field and Garden and Seed Talk. This week, I'm hosting Ask a Flower Farmer on Instagram and TikTok. And remember to meet us back here on Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m. and next Friday, all year long, not just when we have the fresh flowers coming out, right? So we do have a winner of our $25 store credit, and I hope you're here. And our winner is Meredith Gabriel. Meredith, if you are here, give us a shout out in the comments so we know you're here. And when the girls see that, they will be dropping a $25 store credit right into your cart. All right, questions. Is there a lightweight landscaper rake for smoothing rows out after applying compost. I got one from a big box store that is very heavy, over 5 pounds. There are all kinds of different rakes out there. And I will tell you that I use it's probably the rake you're talking about. It's called a garden rake. I turn it over on its back, and I'm not doing a lot of this motion. I'm just putting it down and pulling and moving down my bed. Oh, Meredith is here. Congratulations, Meredith. The girls are dropping a $25 credit right into your cart. So that's what we use, and it does a great job. Do you double net very tall plants? No. Dave Downey and I have discussed this many times. We can't imagine any plant needing double netting. If you use adequate stakes and install netting properly, meaning taunt and at the right height, we don't think any plant that we've grown in our combined over 50 years of growing that really truly needs double netting. If you were just starting out and had the opportunity to go to college for what you do, would you take business or horticulture? I would probably take business if that's it all even needed, right? I mean, I didn't go to college. And it's all practical application, but horticulture is very different than farming. I mean, it's actually like complete opposites. Zone 8A, is it too late to start cool flowers now, either in soil blocks or direct zone? It's your 8A zone only tells you what you could fall plant. And your frost dates tell you when you can fall plant. So if you don't get frozen weather, if your ground doesn't freeze, you can plant in the winter. But I would definitely say if you're going to plant late, you can get away with it with transplants only, not direct sowing. If you hoop and cover, it's giving you 1 month back. So that's what you need to do. Which one were you just highlighting? How do you prioritize what to do each day? There's so much to do at times. Flower farming school, which is what I'll be talking about tonight at the end of my webinar. Flower farming school is on a special from today until next week, and that's exactly what the first whole class is all about. There's multiple sessions about triaging and not wasting your time. Most of the things that we think we need to do is we're thinking like gardeners, not farmers and business people. And so I would definitely recommend to you Flower Farming School online. It is $200 off. It's $495. $500 is a lot of money. That's a BB in the Astrodome to what it's going to save you and the leg up it's going to give you to building a flower farming business. So that's what I would do. Are you sowing sweet pea seeds now for spring, or will you be transplanting the seedlings out in like 4 to 6 weeks? We are sowing seeds today for sweet peas in 2-inch blocks. They will grow up for 2 to 4 weeks. It depends on how fast they germinate. And then they'll be planted outside to overwinter, and they'll be well established to start blooming early and vigorously next spring. Heat mat, good question. Does it matter which side of the heat mat is up? I've been using mine with the letters facing up. On Wednesday, I saw you using it letters down. I don't think it matters. It's more important about the surface it's being used on. You would never use it on like a wire rack, like on one of those rolling racks. It needs a solid surface to be able to radiate heat. So you're fine either way, I think. In your cut flower handbook on page 16, you show flower beds drawing in triangles. Do you plant like this, or is it squares? I have to look. You'd think I'd remember all this stuff. So first off, these are demonstration beds, and it doesn't really matter. But if you want your cutting garden to be as visually attractive as it could be, that's why they chose. These are a bunch of gardener people that draw this, right? I mean, the illustrator. So either way is fine. It just seemed more aesthetically pleasing. But out in my field beds, we just plant in rows like this one. But in a demo bed, you can do it any way that suits your purpose. No, we do not sell a Lazy Susan. Sister, where'd you get that? Like at a home store or something? Yeah, you can pick that up anywhere. Azuratum has been a low performer for the last 2 seasons. What can I replace it with for a great blue color? I would say you need to figure out why you're having low performance. It is a killer flower, and we grow it like gangbusters. And I, too, have had poor years. And I will tell you that it can be seed related. And so I would change your source and get more. And it depends, because all of us that buy seeds, typically it ultimately maybe comes from one place, right? So I would definitely keep trying. I don't know of a replacement. All right, my friends, we are going to wrap it up. We went over today, but what fun answering all these questions. So friends, today is Friday. I hope to see you tonight in the webinar. It's free. You have to sign up to get the link, print the PDF. And friends, if you're thinking about selling flowers you don't want to miss it. And when you show up live, I'm giving you a bonus of something that's in flower farming school. And you don't want to miss that. So go to thegardenersworkshop.com, to the top of every page, sign up, print out the 2-page PDF, and meet me at 8 o'clock tonight. And there will be a recording, but you'll only have access to it for probably less than a week, I think it is. So you want to show up live because you get something for doing that, right? All right, my friends.